Yeah, a BB for Hodier.
Funny, y'all.
Yeah. Well, you know, we couldn't go live with the astrophysics because I can't go live without my co-host. And so we decided to do a smoke session pull up. I added that too, by the way, Miss Tiffany. I like that pull up part.
That's cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Tiffany. You're so creative. Um, so we did this, we calling this the Abo smoke session pull up. So pull up on me. Yeah, pull up on me. Y'all
Oh,
know what I'm talking about. Yeah, y'all go ahead and pull up Abos and let's get it in. But actually, we were just gonna talk a little shiznai until Chilembwe get here and give us some scholarly, how should I say, uh, insight concerning particular pretendian arguments. Yeah, yeah. I think I said that good. So before we get started, of course, we got Pseudo Killer officials. Ladies first. Got to start with the lady killer, Miss Tiffany. Tell the people how you feeling.
I'm good. It's been a long day, so we just here to show Chilembwe some love. That's all. I won't really probably won't speak much, but I just wanted to support him.
Right on.
Going on mutes.
Facts. God killer. The God
You say the Phoebe they feed her. What you say? The Phoebe they foy? The what?
killer.
The Phoebe they foot.
I know you missed it, so I had to bring it back. A
The
baby from
Phoebe
ODA.
they Jose. The Phoebe they Jose.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean, Gigi?
What is it, Black Power? A baby
What? The
booty.
Phoebe they booty. The booty.
You know, it's
Boy.
West African. Maybe I'll get somebody on the panel one day to talk about it.
Yeah, I think y'all might
You
be
know what I'm
making that up,
saying?
yo. I don't think they
A
would
baby,
understand what you were
a
saying.
baby for Hody. Yeah, lots
Yeah,
of people understand what I'm saying. Just not you, and that's okay, right?
man. Hey, y'all got to join the server though, yo. We making breaking records, yo. We definitely talk for 4, 5, 6 hours
uh,
on
he,
DNA. Goes. He closed it out. He closed it out.
he did.
Gullah and Goes. He closed it out. I think they gave the best explanations of the day. Gullah first. He
Mm-hmm.
gave exquisite explanation, and Goes. He followed it up. He talked about Demis and Kleins and the chemicals, right?
Mm-hmm.
A couple billion chemicals it is, and the differences. So we talk. I always say we talk about lower variations in molecules and chemicals, yo. Like, come on, yo.
Right, you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just glad to have that support, man. Big up to Fetty. Fetty Doo-Wop.
So, so it's safe to say that that ain't no race in biology, right?
Yeah, we ain't doing that. Not even coming close.
All right, that's all I want to know.
Yeah.
Of course, King Sosa say different. He says the verbiage. Is that we confused with the verbiage?
Mhm.
Fetty Wap say, yeah, yo, I'm on your
I'm
side, bro. You
calling
know.
him Fetty Wap.
You know, Fetty Wap only got one eye. Calling him the one-eyed bandit, a one-eyed punk.
Oh shit. But
No,
yeah, I'm ready to have that conversation, man. We've been talking about beating up the elbows for a couple of years now, yeah.
right.
Yeah, time to trying to go frontal assault. You can do a frontal assault on them. Just run them
Mm-hmm.
straight over. Get out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
I've
ain't
been
got to go to the high
slicing,
altitude bombers on them.
been slicing necks with simple logic. You feel me? You know I stay in them spaces.
Yeah, big up to the brothers that's been fighting this war, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Got Port City. Got Port City vibes.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
Big up.
he was on Dr. Mayat with you. I think he was on that show with Dr. Mayat when he played
I
Port
remember
City.
that.
Yeah,
And
he
and
still
my
talking
man,
to me.
and my man, your favorite dude, you always on the
Yeah, my
channel.
superhero, Sean. India Red. That's who you talking about.
No, that ain't your favorite, dude. That ain't your favorite.
Who's my favorite dude?
Not coincident. How am I saying it? Not.
Not a coincidence.
Yeah, that shit is a wild ass name. Come on, y'all. Not a coincidence, y'all.
Sean is my favorite dude. Not a
Yeah,
coincidence.
whatever. I can't tell. He don't never come support you. Never.
He
Never.
jealous, maybe. I don't know.
Never. I know your favorite. You got two favorites in this. I'm saying in this particular conversation.
Okay, okay,
So I
okay.
want to make sure we give a shout out to them, right?
Facts.
But sometimes you need reinforcements on the battlefield.
Facts.
Yeah, we done with the Black Egypt conversation.
Thank
We done with
God.
that. I ain't finished though. I ain't finished with Smash Scanwells though. Definitely not finished with them. But that's my personal. Yeah, that's my personal thing.
Smash.
Yeah, yeah,
Damn.
clean out the scammers. Yeah, I'm never gonna get off of that. So that
We know you not. That's why it's hilarious.
can't wait to read the email. I mean,
Oh
make sure you ain't
boy.
changed some words around that email. I know you changed.
He got
Never seen
tape.
nobody put an email in the daggone Word doc. Stop it.
Oh, that listen.
With the
Yo.
the line blinking on it, you're like, come on, yo, you can change any word you want. Yo,
Um,
why?
that's
All
funny,
right, let me
bro.
stop, yo. Let me get back on track. Let me get back on track.
It's all good. We already know. You got the what they call the metanetter magic virus. That's what you got.
No, no, I ain't got the virus, yo. I got the vaccine against it.
Okay, you got the vaccine. Okay, okay.
Yeah, but you got to be in the field, to give them that vaccine. So got to
Mhm.
mix it up with them.
They got the virus over there.
Yeah, they.
Dick and
I just said it. I just said it because boy, Bobby ain't finna let it go. Boy,
No,
what?
hell no, I ain't gonna let it go when you
I
cheated to
said,
fight.
Bobby.
When you fought, you cheated. Hell no.
You got 30 more days. After that, I ain't doing no more reading for you.
Man, come on, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I suspect the elbows will be just as wild with it. I'm sure of
Oh
it, yo.
man.
Scammers are scammers, yo. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it right now. Everybody that's playing cowboy and Indian, you're scamming. I want to start it off with that. You're scamming. Now, Shauna might not say it, but I'm gonna tell you, all y'all scamming. That's from
Shoot.
Top Cap. That's his name. The cap of the top.
Bottom kitten. We call him Bottom Kitten.
Yeah, he's scamming
He go
for
Yeah.
by
sure.
that.
Yeah.
For
Rainbow
sure.
feathers. Rainbow feathers. Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't, we
straight
don't,
scamming.
we don't
Yeah, all
respect
of them.
that.
Male
Yeah.
and female. The females wild. They wild too. Try to hit you with the
Super
sauce.
wild.
Yeah, what's her name? What's her name? I can't think of her
Which
name.
one? Phoenix Moon?
Ah man, she's a scammer, top level. Oh my god, all of them, yo. So yeah, yo, yeah, it's
Oh.
about that time.
Hey,
Yeah.
we got to shout out each one, teach one too. Rob Bourne and Danny.
Oh.
They,
Facts.
Oh yeah, they definitely on that battle. You definitely gotta shout them out. Yeah.
Yeah. Facts.
hmm
Yeah, boy.
I
Cause
think it's time to cuss them out now. Now, everybody been nice. You
not.
didn't tell them what they was. They were scammers. So the
Ooh, you went out, or did I go out?
I'm here.
I ain't hear that. I think you went out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
yeah, we heard you now.
No, I'm saying it's just time for somebody to just go ahead and let them know, yo, y'all scamming with the intellectual property between African Americans. Is yo, yeah, y'all been doing it for a long time, and it's based off colonialism. You promote the colonial lie, and
Fact.
your attempt to usurp colonialism. You make up lies, which put accurate history, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put accurate history in a position where the average African American don't believe the real history of us coming from Africa.
Facts.
And so you do a heinous crime against African Americans. It's heinous when you
Mm-hmm.
start to interpret and make up stuff, and you start to be like the colonizer by not
And
giving us
Africa.
our information, yo. That's not right. I see them as no different. They're flagrant. Yeah, yeah, scam, scam away. Yeah, the biggest one of them all. Yo, you look at this play, you having 20,000 people. Well, I was like, what? That many people getting scammed?
Yeah,
Yeah, you need to give
that
everybody a
many.
refund on that.
Yeah, the grift of the century, literally. Yeah, they
Crazy, yo,
grifting the hell out of people with them
crazy.
fake behind, copy and paste, uh, books they got just problematic all the way through and through, in and out. Like, yo, a fifth grader could have done better than that book he put together for $50. Like, come on. That's why I say any of you all who are doing any kind of writing books and publishing them, and you know that you have factual information, charge at least $50, because that's what his name is doing. That's definitely what he's doing. Sean, and not a coincidence, definitely got into all of that. Like, got the book and vetted it totally. So, yeah, that's what we do. You feel me? But peace, Sean. How you doing? Thank you for joining us today, my superhero. You like that video I sent you?
My type of height.
Is that Sean? He must really love
That's
some
Sean. That's
Gigi.
not your type of hype, Sean. You ain't like the video I sent you.
I don't know. I threw up.
Don't mention it. Don't mention it on the
I ain't mentioning it. I ain't mentioning it. I just threw up. I'm like, you play too damn much. What's going on, man?
What's up? Where the hell you been at, Sean?
What you mean, bro? I've been doing my shows, fighting elbows. How y'all let this Mike TV dude get big,
Who we let get big?
bro? This some new dude, bro. His name Mike TV.
Man, anybody that
Ooh.
grab the elbow shit become, yo. Now it's time to smash them all the way out. You
Oh,
just
we
get
need to.
y'all been in the battlefield, yo. It's time, we find all different areas to constantly smash them out and attack them now. That's where we at.
All right,
Yeah.
Mike TV, check. Gotta check that out. But just for a minute, y'all want everybody to mute because we do have Chilembwe on the panel now. So this is his time. He has the floor. He's gonna give us some real deal scholarship on basically debunking some of these fallacious abo ideologies, if you want to call them that. But Chilembwe, let go.
All right, all right. What's up, everyone? I've been meaning to do this for a while.
You went out.
Well, first, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I apologize. I wanted to do this for a while, but first, let me greet everybody. What's up, God Killer, Miss Tiff, Gideon Block,
What's up, brother?
Sean. I don't know who the other person is down there.
Sean.
Somebody else on here too. It's
What's
7
It's
people.
Gullah, Sean, Miss Tiffany, God
Oh,
Killer.
that's Gullah. Okay.
Hmm.
Dang, Gullah changed his joint again, didn't he?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Tony.
that's a
Okay.
nice avatar, Gullah Gabri. I like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right on.
I want to deal with something that I just had experience with, which is I was over there in Philadelphia for a Doom Day, and that's on South Street. And if you don't know about South Street, especially at the turn around the 1800s, the turn of the 19th century, it was a black metropolis somewhat. There were so many powerful black men starting businesses, fighting politically, economically, and socially against the exploitation of black men and women and children throughout the United States. And I was over there for this event that's 49 years. I've been going there for most of my life, which is a celebration of African American culture, its spirituality, the things that we brought from the continent of Africa. And I had a feeling that I wanted to address a specific claim by Scam Calloway, Little Cat, and all the rest of them who continue to misrepresent, I feel, brilliant black men. The misrepresentation is honestly true. That's just what it is. But these men were not only brilliant, but brave in their attempts to address slavery, racism. At that time, scientific racism was running full steam ahead. And there were certain ideas that were present in the minds of white people that were pushed back by these individuals. They had statements about them not being able to do business without white people's help. And they had ideas of being incapable of engaging in politics, unable to make rational, logical thoughts and to make arguments against an idea or oppose. And these men stood tall at that time and exposed the lie. And we got individuals 200 years later making audacious claims about these men and these individuals who I think we ought to add to the aisles of African American history of people we should honor and respect. And so that's where I came in at. And then with that claim, I'm going to go over just how I like to address issues. We've been having a lot of conversations in the Discord. I encourage y'all to get in there if you want to. And most of the pseudo killers and those in the Discord already know that I try to be as thorough and honest as possible. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to actually get to a clip, but before I get to the clip and his claim, I want to make sure we understand that whenever you deal with history,
Sean, you got me out.
Whenever
I got it. Go ahead.
Okay, so whenever you deal with history, there's always a point of you could say some assumptions that are made in history. It's not a exact science, but as more information becomes available, you will find that you can refine your understanding of history. But history in and of itself hasn't always went through a rigorous method. So you could take sources from the 1500s, the 1300s, 1400s, and people, I won't say they making it up, but what they're doing is they're just going solely off of how they feel about the subject and then using that as a rationale of how they view.
So ain't no archaeology or nothing that man, what the hell are you talking about, boy?
Please not interrupt.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that when it comes to historical methods, that wasn't developed yet. So people are just writing, they're attempting it. But there's no clear-cut, concise way you can understand it from that point. It doesn't mean that it's not useful. It just means that it's not the information we have now goes through a much more rigorous process than what it did then. And that's anybody will tell you that who studies history. Some of them don't even do nothing from the 1950s because it was still wild at that point. But the further back you go, it gets much worse. So that's my point. So let me quickly share my screen, and we'll go through this as quickly as I possibly can. So this is just a quick understanding of how things are done. It's the misconceptions, misrepresentations of African American history. These are some of I just grabbed some pictures of some pioneers in our understanding of our history. Some of these people we may not know of, some of them we do, but they all were appointed parts, right? So keep in mind, we're just dealing with a general history. Of course, there's going to be instances where you can find minute details, but that's not my point. Take notes if you have any questions. Be mindful of chronology, because one thing you will find with the Abels argument is they will never deal with things chronologically. They'll be talking about something that happened in 1783, and then somehow another jump to 1933 or 1913, and somehow mix that up together as if 150 years hadn't transpired in between. Always look for primary sources. We're going to get into that. And always verify your information. Know where your information has come from and where to find it. Writing a history, especially the writing a history based on critical examination of sources. So you can look at that. That'll tell you. That'll also give you the history. I heard Thunder come in, so we'll go deal with that right now. Modern history historians aim to reconstruct a record of human activities and achieve a more profound understanding of this conception of their task is quite recent, dating from the development of the late 18th and 19th centuries of scientific history and the simulation rise of history as an academic profession. So yes, Thunder, what I said is accurate. Thank you.
Simultaneous.
Yes, simultaneous. I apologize. So what are some of the things you'll find? Egocentric bias, a tendency to rely heavily on one's own perspective. That's that grandma. My grandmom said. That's where that comes from. Objective illusion, a phenomenon where people tend to believe they're more objective and unbiased than others. That's a quick claim that people will make. You bias. That's why you don't understand. Argument from ignorantamian or argument from ignorance occurs when speakers present an argument as a fact simply because there's no readily available evidence to prove to the contrary. That's when they say things like, well, what's your bloodline say? What all that type stuff. Y'all heard them say it. Well, what ship did they come off of? That doesn't mean what we're saying is inaccurate. That's actually a fallacy. Equivocation. That's the Motte-Valley fallacy. That's what Richard Carrier accuses Jabari of doing, which he does do, mind you. Logical fallacy in which the speaker blurs the line between two distinct positions, which have some overlapping qualities. By blurring this line, it's possible to create an association between one position, which is the modest Mott, and therefore easily defend a position which is likely more extreme. So you'll understand, like they'll say, they'll go to an example where Native Americans were classified as Negro, right? And you're not going to argue against that, but then they overextend it to say that's what happened to every black person. And then you try to argue and they'll go right back to that example, which then becomes this Motte-Valley fallacy. And then hasty generalization, faulty generalization, form an argument that arrives at a conclusion about a numerous incidents of a phenomenon based on evidence, which is limited to only a few instances of said phenomenon. That's an example of what we're talking about. So that's another way they like to play the game. They give you one example of this person got off or this Native American was sent to Europe, and then they extend and say that's happened to everybody and make it like that's just the way it is. Y'all heard them say the slave trade happened in reverse. Nonsense. Informal fallacies occur, assumed when decision makers of the past view events the same perspective. That is, because we know more of what transpired after, we assume that the people of that time should have known what was going to transpire afterwards. And that's just not true. We all tend to think that we can predict the future to some degree, but the reality is we cannot, and that there's too many random occurrences that could happen. Even though we try to do it all as much as we can, they'll have a false thesis, a flawed thesis. That is focus on wrong characters, odd evidential selection criteria. And here's the key: too much ideology over evidence. If you ever actually watch their channels, right, you'll see they do a lot of talking with no proof. They'll show one slide, one excerpt from a book or a source, and we got to question the source also, and then extend a whole dialogue and conversation. Matter of fact, let me do this right quick. Today is Dulcinea's birthday, I believe. I want to wish her a happy birthday, and my present for her is to let her know she's pseudo like the rest of them. So the next one is falsification consists of having and citing a legitimate source, but using it improperly. This is what they do all the time. Here's Popcat.
Business partners. Now, right here on January 15, 1817, 14 other black leaders called a meeting at Mother Bethel to discuss the ACS, American colonization idea. 3,000 black men packed the church. All right. So all of these people spoke in favor of immigrating to Africa. However, Fulton called for those in favor to say, yeah, no, not a single voice was heard. When he called to oppose a tremendous no rang out, and it seemed as if it would bring down the walls of the building, as Fulton wrote to Paul Cuffey, January 25th. There was not one soul that was in favor of going to Africa.
So what top? This was on Scrambling the Minds, confusing everybody. And when we had this discussion, his argument was that the reason why that no one wanted to go to Africa is simply because they weren't from Africa. That somehow or another that they were denying the Africanness of them and didn't want to go back to Africa. That is a make-believe story that he made up. It's just not true. The actual reason why is the next sentence, which is from the same source. The common black people had understood what their leaders had not. Despite good intentions, some members of the ACS, that's American Colonization Society, had fallen under the influence of Southern delegates. Its covert aim was to rid the country of the strongest oppositions to slavery. The free blacks, with its troublesome agitators, removed slavery. Slavery would be free to flourish. So what is going on? They have a meeting. These prominent black men around South Street in Philadelphia and Moyer Menton Avenue, and they are in contention with American Colonization Society, who also has some blacks involved in it. And the American Colonization Society wanted to send the free blacks out of America. Again, remember I said they are the example to show the lie for white supremacy, white racism, and many of the excuses they were using to justify slavery. So these black businessmen, this is a letter from James Fortin to Paul Cuffey. Paul Cuffey was a ship maker in New England, prominent, very wealthy, who was willing to take his money to help other African descended people in America. He wrote to another businessman, James Fortin, who made the sails for the boats that Paul Cuffey was using to help with the move to go back to Africa. And they were going to use some funding from the American Colonization Society and then their own money to take ships back to Africa. Top Cat claim, as well as the Scam Calloway and all of them, say that this is not accurate. That the real reason why is because they aren't Africans or the African descendants. They're really black Europeans mixed with Native Americans. That is a audacious and ridiculous claim. Don't make any sense at all. Here's more about coffee. He's really wants to, another source saying the same thing. This is Many Rivers Across by another historian, Henry Louis Gates. Same thing. You can get the QR code. Now, here's a guy who was a semi-contemporary of the meeting, Martin Delaney. I think Martin Delaney was probably, I know a lot of people credit Frederick Douglass, but I think Martin Delaney was probably at that time one of the most powerful black leaders of that time. I think there's a quote, I haven't sourced the quote all the way, that says that Frederick Douglass, talking about Martin Delaney, Frederick Douglass says, while I was proud to be a man, Martin Delaney was proud to be a black man. And I think that's a very important point. In his book about the conditions, elevation, immigration, and destiny of colored people of the United States, there's a free copy on the screen for you. You're more than welcome to take it. He points out James Ford and others at the head, true to their trust in the cause of the brothers, summoned the colored people together. And then and there in a language with voice pointed and loud protest against the scheme as an outrage, having no other objective in view that the benefit of slaveholding interests of the country, and that as freemen they would never prove recreant the cause of their brethren in bondage by leaving them without hope of redemption from their trains. This determination of the colored patriots of Philadelphia was published in full, authentically, and circulated throughout the length and breadth of the country by the papers of that day. He is saying what Henry Louis Gates says, what W.E.B. Du Bois points out, that they understood the scheme to try to send the freemen out of America so that slavery could be more secure. How would it be more secure? Well, one way is you wouldn't have free and enslaved Africans together. And so anyone who had that complexion of that distinction from that ethnic group or from that continent of Africa was all slaves. You could easily distinguish the two. Also, they were avid abolitionists, and they were raising money, and they were fighting politically, and they were organizing themselves to end slavery. And that was problematic. Also, they was engaged in Underground Railroad, smuggling slaves out of the South through the North, those who didn't go down to Florida and or through Mexico. This is the letter that they're talking about. It's very hard to see. It's found in a library in England. That's the best version I could get of it. It was kind of hard to try to get that from them. They wasn't overly happy about it. Now, here is one of the letters that they talk about being sent out. You can see part of the quote where it's they talk about them not coming to America by force, right? Whereas the ancestors not a choice were the first successful cultivators of the wilds of America. We are the descendants feel ourselves entitled to participate in the blessings of our luxuriant soil with their blood and sweat manured. Resolve that we never will separate ourselves voluntarily from the slave population in this country. They are our brethren by ties of consanguinity. Now, that word consanguinity means, in essence, blood relatives. We are of one kin and kith. So, in conclusion, as the jury has come back and came with a sin, we find him guilty of scamming the black people. He has made up a whole complete lie, has no truth in him, and he continued. Now he's got this trip to Mexico in which he's charging black people to go see crazy pyramids in Mexico, saying we created them. He ain't no different than Ali Muhammad. He ain't no different than the Moors, the Hebrew Israelites. They all got some nonsense where they got an anti-African view of the world. And you know what? I gotta be honest. It's not even hard for you to understand. When you look at some of the rhetoric that existed about black people in America, black people on the African continent, black people in Europe, right? You who would want to be associated with if you didn't know the true history, right? The full scope of what we're talking about. Now to the discussion. These are just foolish claims. This is the type of stuff you see. This little feather thing on her head, you buy that from Walmart. I didn't see them wearing that. They gotta knock it. That's no ancestral head wrap from no Native American. You get that from Walmart. You get it from Amazon. Then they like to change color picture. This Negro right here interfaces himself on this other picture. Like, that's wild to do that type of stuff. What are we talking about? Like, they just making it up. So what are they saying? They want to say things like, how can we say this? All of them say the same stupid claims. I'm from this chief. I'm from that chief. I'm from the royal line of the Europeans who mixed with the Native American royal lines. And now I got the royal. All that is foolishness. I've never met a group where everybody chiefs and there's no Indians. It don't make no sense. They're making it up and they're scamming the black people from their thing. So I'm going to stop there. My conclusion is, hold on, let me get back to there. So my conclusion is very clear that his claim that James Fortin somehow or another worked with the Quakers to deny Africans their history and their lineage is just nonsense. It's not true. We have a copy of one of the letters that they sent from the meeting that Top Cat has never produced. Scam Cat never produced it. Scam Calloway never produced it. Ali Muhammad, they have not produced that letter. Here you have seen the letter. You have seen the letter, and you can
Scam cat.
so yeah,
Oh,
you have seen the you have seen the letter. You know exactly what the letter says. We don't have to make it up. I want to read this right here. This is the reason why they did it. This came out about a month or two ahead. This is from the American Colonization Society. What shall we do with the free people of color? So we see they're not talking about all people of color. They're not talking about those who are enslaved in the South and in the Midlands. They're not talking about none of them. They're only talking about the free people of color. What can we do for the happiness, consistency with their own? Are questions often asked by what they thinking mind? The desire to make them happy had often been felt. But the difficulty of devising and accomplishing an efficient plan has hitherto appeared too great for that kind of scrubbed out. The servitude of the sons of Ham. So here we see what I mean by a conceptualization, right? So we see this blending of religious texts into the ideology of what's facing us today. So the sons of Ham, if you ever listen to Garfield is always talking about the notion of the sons of Ham and how that became a distinction of the way they would discriminate against black people. And so you can see here that, again, the American Colonization Society is using that, right? And it says sons of Ham described by Noah in the spirit of prophecy concerning the future condition of his posterity was not terminated. So what are they saying? It is practical, if you look down the next paragraph, thing to form a colony of free blacks in their own wild lands or on the coast of Africa. Right? And so what are they saying? They're saying these people, by design from the text of the Bible, were prophesied to be enslaved by everyone else. And we're now going to attempt to take only the free ones and send them away. But there's a notable point to that, is that they're not talking about sending everybody away. And the reason why that's important is because the response to that is called the Voices of Freedom. It was a paper that was published January 1817. So you know it's the same time. They are responding to that with that meeting, and then with this paper that they put in the newspaper, this article or this publication to explain it. Now I'm on the Pseudo Killas, and so I want to point out a phrase in this same letter so we can see the continuation of this brilliance of the black man at this time. Resolved. I'm down here at almost the last paragraph. Resolved that without arts, without science, without a proper knowledge of government to cast us into the savage wilds of Africa, the free people color seems to be circuitous route through which they must return to perpetual bondage. So here they're telling you some of the beauty of it. When I first joined the Discord, one of the first conversations we had was about Pan-Africans in science. And I got to be honest, I was saving this for God Killer because he likes to come at me about that Pan-African.
Jesus Christ.
So I was going to save this letter.
Got the straight bullet.
Yeah.
Damn, not on the.
That's hilarious.
Dang. Please, sir. Thank you for sparing me on that one. God damn.
So this is at 1817. We see that these free black people were still promoting science. Like these people who were talking about liberating slavery already told you the functionalities of what you need to be able to be a functioning community wherever you're at. You need arts, science, and a proper knowledge of government. That means you must be able to govern and organize yourselves in a way to which you can have customs and laws to prevent anarchy. You must understand the aspect of music and dance and all the arts that come up with it, but you cannot leave out science, right? You have to have a progression of science. And this is what they were promoting in 1817. And we got people like Top Cat who going to try to convince you that these black people somehow sold you out because the land was really yours. I mean, it's ridiculous. We had discussions about being black and all like that. You hear people say, well, we don't have, without Egypt, what does black people have? What do we have? We have science. Like we are active participating in science. We have our own developmental science. You should look at the early steel, early ironworks within West Africa, Western Central Africa. Right?
Talk to him, Chilembwe.
We gotta be real about this. Like we have a rich and dynamic history. I was walking on South Street. You could see in W.E.B. Boy's the Philadelphia Negro. He has maps of this area, and as you walk, the streets are still paved the same way. Like you can just see the history. I was part of a project in finding potter fields down off of South Street near Mother Bethel Church, which is off of South Street as well, right? And along Moya Minson Avenue. And looking at, going through the old maps of Philadelphia, looking at where possibly they could have had some type of potter's field. There was a riot during that time, and a lot of blacks were buried in those areas, but no one quite knows exactly where at. But that rich history, right? During the War of 1812, what happened? These same black people got together and marched all the way up to Grays Ferry Bridge to stop the British from taking the Schuylkill River into Philadelphia at that time, right? So we had this rich, dynamic history of black people being intelligent, being able to formulate their thoughts, being able to organize, being able to share wealth together, build businesses together, and being able to structurally fight against white supremacy, racism, and oppression. And we got people today, 200 years later, that can sit on the internet, half illiterate, and make wild claims. And the stuff. Oh, sorry, I'm about to say something. I forgot I'm at my house. I got to watch my kids now. and the stuff got to stop. It just got to stop. So I'm done.
You say half literate or fully illiterate?
Half literate because they can do part of it. They understand, say go, stop, and stuff like that. They just don't know all the rest.
You see, you funny, Chilembwe. Oh boy. I know that Sean wanted to have some
Where's Sean at? Where's Sean at?
dialogue with you, you stupid puppy banger.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Presentation
It's a little way.
My fault, Sean. My fault, yo.
and
My
some
fault.
implications. So
Oh,
I was
yo.
gonna let that be had
Pseudo
right
Killer
now.
style.
All right, so I'm gonna give you this source right here, in the back chat. It's the Formation of American Colonization Society. This is a source that Dan Calloway and Top Cats use. More specifically, for those who actually got downloaded their article on Same Tree Different Branch, I take you to a word for word adventure toward the end of my response to Dan Calloway's book about It's Told in Reverse. And in that, I highlight the areas of where he copied and pasted, changed a few words, and then, he has that in the book. He doesn't cite the source and he doesn't provide any information. But more importantly, I think, because you're dealing with that one thing in this conversation, I think that it would add and help give a little bit more clarity about the formation and how the society came about. It's got some good back and forth with legislators on the subject matter, especially relating to Paul Cuffey and the idea of even going back to Africa, being promoted as an African thought versus that, but universally, not everybody wanted back, and people sell that to us as if that was the case, and it wasn't. It wasn't everybody thing. It was a if you want to go back, here's our opportunity type thing. But it also dives into you may know this already. Dive into the fact that this comes about because they're trying to prevent riots, right? Slave owners are complaining. They're only trying to keep all of that stuff down, and they're looking to emancipate and free more Black people, and they needed somewhere to go. And I said in the side chat, I was like, Mississippi was a designation. And think about that, just taking all the Black people that they just enslaved and even enslaved in Mississippi and making Mississippi the home for everybody. That was a thought. But they didn't like the idea of that, so they thought about pushing them west as well, like they did the natives. And that wasn't a thought either. They couldn't come to agreement on that. But yeah, I gave you that source for that matter. I think it's something that a lot of people should look into. But I like how you try to slide one in on Unc though.
See what I'm saying? See.
Yeah, I was saving that for him because I knew it was coming back up. I got some other ones though.
You know what though? Okay, so my issue, and I'm not gonna get us off the track because we right where we supposed to be at. That's a good job too, Sean, man. I think y'all work well together with that type of thing. Well, I'm just saying though, it's the way real fast, it's just the way Pan-Africanism is promoted these days, man. It's promoted with an anti-scientific flair and an anti-African fervor, right? Based off of the misunderstanding of documentation that you've been bringing for the last year, bro. So I'm just saying, yo, you just by yourself. So we just probably need to do a whole educational process with educating people to deal with Pan-African, nism show, because they definitely anti-scientific and they definitely pick up the rhetoric of the conscious community. So I think that's a real issue and a problem. But back to the cowboys and the Indians, man, they completely out of control, man. And I'm saying with numbers that we haven't seen before, and it's just based off of African Americans, Black Americans trying to get a feel and understand of their history. I just think we sit in a good position. And big up to Sean and them and Rob Bourne and them, and not a coincidence. And the other brothers that's been actually fighting this fight, yo. But like I like to say, man, look, man, keep fighting the fight, yo. But yeah, yo, we like to actually add to the discussion, right? I know, I've been talking about that shit for at least 15 years. Sean, you was there with the whole Ivan Van Sertima getting all that together, the critiques of it. And yeah, man, it's just crazy, man, because now you would have to overturn some of our elders that was kind of promoting that. It just got bad, man. It's like it's a cancer, and it just got worse, man. So yeah, we on that case, bro. And I know I know both of y'all have brought up a lot of issues. I know Sean, you brought up a lot of you've been shooting from all over the place, yo. But for me, man, my fight will be to continue to press evolution, and how evolution completely disproves anything that they talk about. I say now, y'all in the weeds with it when y'all start bringing up those documents and stuff. I say they can't even get to goddamn America to even start the foolery.
I agree.
I Yeah, I understand that, but that's what they're using. So you have to combat the weaponry that they are attempting to use, which are some of the black organizations back then that was on, whether it was said or not, a Pan African tangent. And like I told you back on the Pan African, just to pivot a bit, but that's a mischaracterization of Pan Africanism, and I think Mark Chilembwe has done a good job to prove Pan Africanism otherwise, and I've given some examples otherwise. And let's not forget the Journal of Nation, the Journal of Science definitely qualifies Pan Africanism, and some of the
Say
continents
what?
and some of the continental Pan African organizations. Unc, we went through this. I don't searched up for you a billion
I
times.
think you. I think you
Don't get
taking
killed.
advantage.
Don't
I
get
think you're
killed.
taking advantage that
Don't
we
get
beating
killed
up
on the
the
Pan.
elbows right now. I think
Don't
you.
get no. I'm just addressing your statement on Pan Africanism, though. That's all. We could do that. You brung it up, so I have
Nah, I'm
to
playing. I'm
address it.
tripping. I'm just having fun, yo.
Ames is one of those, and that's the STEM Pan African organization from
I seen
Africa.
that article.
So we get it. Maybe we get it messed up in this time, as African Americans now. Our predecessors didn't have it messed up. You understand? Our
Mhm.
ancestors who were fighting for liberation, they didn't have it messed up. But somewhere we got lost in the sauce. So that's why I say it's a mischaracterization. You know,
I think it all blends into the same thing, yo. That we're now officially miseducating ourselves, man. Long way from Carter G. Woodson, yo. We're
facts,
actually miseducating ourselves on what Pan Africanism is, on
facts.
what it means to be a African American, Black American, all with the indigenous people. That their books that was just, at the time, man, they seemed good. We all read they came before Columbus, man. At the time, I thought it was a fire book, yo. But once you get into the understanding of it, and you start to critique and start to look at the up to date data, right? The update is important, man. So don't let them people take you back with the old 1965, 1970. Nah, man, come on. We updated that. So we're not looking at those all Mac heads anymore saying that this and that based off of the phenotypical look that we see. We realize that indigenous people living in America carry some of those same phenotypes that we see on those daggone heads. And then nobody actually shows the heads that look like Asians.
Right.
Nobody talks about those. It's a
Never.
diversity in those heads.
Correct.
So it's a travesty to make good hardworking black folk spend their money to go to Mexico, right, and get miseducated, man. I'd rather them go to Mexico and learn of the rich tradition of those Mesoamericans, man. I think that to be very important. Those people also live near the equator. Okay, they skin be colored like ours too.
Right.
So when I give a proper representation of who they are and their cultural nuances and understanding of how they had to fight against colonialism, so yeah, man. They fought against the conquistadors. That's why they
Conquistador.
speak Spanish. Okay.
Hey, real
So
real quick, These fools went down there, Top Cat, and whoever he took, went down there, and he's not challenging the people on anything at these sites. He went down there to do a whole documentary on trying to
Mm,
convince us,
mm.
right? That these things belong to us. And then on top of that, he tied uh what is the Atlantis, a book on Atlantis as a source
Mhm.
to say where he's seen this structure before down there in Mexico. That
What?
dude is non-terrible. Yeah, yeah.
Nuts.
That's okay, yo. We'll go down there and take a trip, man, and talk to the indigenous people, yo, and then talk to some of the museum curators, yo. We'll do that.
And
Yeah,
you know
and
they say that they still been in there. They've been in. They never left the land.
right.
Right.
They don't even believe in the out of Africa theory, which you have to tell it like Vin Sertima tell it. He never said that those people here weren't African, and I think that that's a point that we have to always
Yeah.
stipulate because they love to throw Vin Sertima, but they're not saying what Vin Sertima was saying every time. Another thing, like there are a lot of uh, Afro indigenous connections. There's some Geechee Gullah connections within Mexico. So I would even respect it more if they were dealing with that issue. But again, that issue still arises from, slavery and that story of slavery, or actually the story of liberation of slaves, in a sense. So you have a source up there. I don't know if you wanted to address it, Sean. And you too, Chilembwe. Just let me know. I see y'all dropping sources in the private chat that are.
No, that source was for Sean. That's actually they have a list of the actual letters
Yeah, I
and
got that.
All right, I got
yeah,
you.
okay.
Did you want to address
No,
this?
the only reason that I put this in the back is because the evidence continues to mount for the out
Mm-hmm.
of Africa theory, which
Facts.
sets the stage for the argument that they don't want to have when it comes to science. Because you
Yeah.
have proponents like AP, who says that he's dealt with Randolph Unk and other people, and he want to have
Aha,
this
baby.
conversation, but the evidence is there, so I don't know how you can
What,
refute.
yo? Somebody said what?
Yeah, are you not
Aboriginal
aware
power.
that you got ran off?
Who got ran off?
You, the
Oh no, they
owl.
gonna put me on the warpath. See. Now I got to pull the four guns towards. They tripping, ran me off.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
When did you ever
yeah.
talk to Aboriginal power, Bobby?
Man, beat the brakes off, man. Come on, yo. Come on,
Mm.
man. There's a show I did on his show, right? And it was like six of them, yo. And I just clearly split them up and finished them off. I enjoyed the conversation. I didn't know they was talking crazy. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I got you, Aboriginal power. I'm locked in now. Got nothing else better to do. Hmm.
That's what.
Ben told me that though, Sean.
Nah,
You
like
got
he
the.
when he pump his chest, he talk about how he had conversations with Jabari, how you know what I'm saying, don't nobody want to debate him on the out of Africa. Although I went on this panel and pressed him on that, and he tried to act like he didn't want to have a conversation. And then when I'm away from the panel, he, you know what I'm saying, the Debo effect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
quiet when I'm around, but when I leave, he talking again. So it's one
You,
of those. It's one of those things.
so the ignorance is not just dealing with black people. I want us to understand that. There is a significant amount of indigenous Americans who get in the extreme end and are very racist towards mostly anybody who comes around, So it's like those pretendians have made it so bad that any black person that come in their spaces on a public platform is labeled as such. And when you discuss out of Africa theory with them, oh, it's all out war. It happened to me. I was called a racist for trying to clear up some misconceptions about out of Africa theory because one indigenous woman there said that it was debunked, and I was like, source up on that, ma'am. Yeah, didn't go well. So I mean, there's two sides to that coin. Just want y'all to know that.
So, you know, they've been skating for a while, um, and as long as they're able to tell their lies consistently, some people will believe them. So it's important that we address them. They're not scientifically literate, um, and that not that if being scientific literally will automatically excuse me, clarify any type of biases or anything like that, but it makes it much harder for those things to take root in your understanding. And as I said before, our history has been somewhat complicated through white supremacy um, and scientific racism. And so there's a disconnect in Black America to some degree. So there's a Pew research out that talks about how important Black is to Black Americans. That's a substantial part of our being, especially in America. And I think the Abos are um, attempting to build a history where they think a history doesn't exist or that the history is inaccurate, which is why I always, when I did talk to them, point to our rich, dynamic history. Right now, they're on a kick with the Black European. That is some concept in which they took natives to Europe, and that's who really came back, or some. They got so many different
Nah.
conversations.
Chill, you messing it up, bro. You messing it up. No. This is the argument. Then argue it. Black people are indigenous to the world, brother. Those same black people was in Europe. And the white people, listen to me, the white people was in Africa. So the people that they actually enslaved were white people in Africa that they brought to the Americas. So them people that in the 1600s that immigrated or migrated to America, those were the Black Europeans that were here, that came over back here. And they got the white people from Africa. See, you ain't listening to Autochthonous One and Aboriginal Power and them and Topcats and them tell you the story. They're telling you that the black people is all over the place except for in Africa. That's where they got the white people from. So they brought 300,000 white people from Africa.
Yo, you can't be serious, yo.
Okay, let me go get the clip.
Get the clip, yo. It's no, come on, yo. I mean, that's why I just that's.
I'm hoping
that's literally what they be saying, though.
That's why I said I can't do
I
it.
ain't lying, y'all. It's a mess out there.
What?
It's a mess.
How did it morph to that?
Yes, it does. And then we get into genetics and talk about haplogroups and how you have distinct genetic markers. Like, how do you have this haplogroup that's indigenous to Africa?
They Moors
from here, like it's just it's wild.
Wow, ain't no way, yo. Y'all
playing.
They
Moors, Unc.
Oh yeah.
They Moors, Unc. They Moors.
What? He said what?
Illinois Moors. They're telling you they're Moors.
Moved all so the white people actually come from Africa near the equator.
Yeah,
bro, man. Let me go back and get this stuff, bro.
How?
It's a few months. Hey, now hold on. Not a coincidence. Is in the chat, bro.
Yeah,
Autochthonous One he literally said this on a show, bro. Like no joke, and he's straight face, dead serious. He argued with not a coincidence in a whole debate about it.
What?
He told not a coincidence. They had a debate. The debate was about were white people slaves in America? And he said black people owned white slaves.
Facts. That was a whole debate. A whole debate.
In America, we own white slaves. In Africa, so we came and got the white
And
slaves
guess
from
what?
Africa.
And he didn't show one black person owning a white slave and won the debate.
And then they try to revert it back to white slavery. I said, no,
But
that's
give me a second. I'm about to find it
form of
for you.
prostitution. That ain't got nothing to do with the slavery we talk about. And then they tried to say it was the indentured servants. Those white people indentured servants were actually slaves, but they were protected by the law. Like, what are you talking about right now? Yeah, it's wild. They foolish. Just full of
God damn.
See,
man.
now I got a headache because I don't do, you know, I'm hypersensitive to stupidity, and I can only take but so much. Like,
what
you know,
is funny?
I can't. I actually influence my oldest son that way. Like my son, he has a low tolerance for stupidity, and I have an even shorter tolerance from it. And I'm hoping that when Sean comes back, he doesn't have a clip of him saying some stupid stuff like that. Because then I got to take a Tylenol or something.
We got 50 clips. Chilembwe. There are numerous clips of these people raining this BS out their mouths. This is real. And it's bad.
No.
That's why I keep telling y'all, it's bad. This ain't just
it's the new pseudoisms.
These are some super pseudo sophisticated dumbass abos.
Oh yeah, I think was that the guy? I argued one of them guys on the thing.
Earth
yo.
Speaks.
Who was
Talk
it?
about Atlantis and
Oh
they
yeah.
on Pangea and just
That's the one I cussed them out, right?
Yeah.
Good. See what I'm saying? That's how you do it.
He blocked me. I went on his channel on TikTok and I was like,
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Bob
You go and cuss them out.
Dr. Maya, they mop the flow with your like
custom. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, man, come on, yo.
He's like, you want to debate me? You want to debate me?
Yeah, it's something wrong with him. He about 35, 40
Yeah,
years old.
something real wrong with him.
Yeah, man. This is crazy. Is it mental health month or week or something? Did we miss it?
I don't know, but let me see if I got. Can I play something? You wanna? Let me see.
June was men's mental health month.
You need to extend it, yo.
Hold on, let me see. I got something for y'all. Let me take this comment out. Yeah. Just a minute. There we go. Hold on, y'all.
The reason I do these videos is to see if people can be honest with themselves, to see if they can be critical of the people that they follow on these social media platforms. So up now, I have legendary top cats who should be called legendary hypocrite.
That I'm not in control of the family. Then it's not me that can come out here and study something and go back and tell my grandma and my auntie and them that, hey, this is who we are. Now they know exactly who they are. You know what I mean? And I'm not one of these people who gonna come out here and tell you that I'm 100% Indian and I ain't got no, and I know what the hell happened here. You know what I'm saying? We have our burial sites down in Louisiana. We have 2 burial sites down there, one on 40 acres, another one on 100. On one of them, they have Spaniards. We have Irish. That's why I always talk about the Black Dutch here. We got Black Irish, Black Spaniards. We have Africans. I told motherfuckers that my grandma, her great grandma was mixed with African. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of flack from that in my community. Right. I'm not here to lie though. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to talk about that.
How you know that, bro? How you know you ain't got no African blood in you?
Because I know who my mom and daddy is.
So you saying that the Africans and the Indians wasn't hooking up? They wasn't getting together?
What? No, sir. Prove it. They're not melanated. They're not melanated. Your parents are not melanated. Bro.
Tell you something, bro. We don't give them nothing. We don't give them nothing. Oh yeah, you know, in some cases, that nigga prove it. Hell no. I told motherfuckers that my grandma, her great grandma was mixed with African. I ain't seen no African nigga prove it. I'm not giving you niggas no Africans. I'm not. You can't have it. I told motherfuckers that my grandma, her great grandma was mixed with African. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of flack from that in my community.
Right.
So you heard it from the horse's mouth. 1 minute he's African, next minute he's not.
I see you. You know I'm surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want it, dog? Huh?
Break the lane, I'm trying to make a name.
Nigga got the Walmart war feathers on his head.
This is another one I got real quick.
He said, how he get Black Dutch out of Irish people?
Which one is it? Hold on. Okay. I forgot which one it is. I might be a little ahead of it, but we
from that time. Since it's so prevalent, right? He says everybody had a white slave, basically. Why we can't find a document? Again, diaries, letters, news articles, laws, and other legal documents during the Civil War era mentioning white slaves. Don't just tell us that the Civil War was the free white people. Show us. So black slave owners, who are they? Who did they own? Black or white people? See, A1 went through the whole first round, and he tried to pass off, the boxer as a slave owner. Are you serious?
By 1850, there's almost 8 million black people in America. And then out of 8 million, probably like 2 million owning fucking slaves.
So again, we have to see the evidence for this. What evidence do we have, right? According to the statistics, which is the primary source, black enslaved population of the United States from 1790 to 1880. There were almost 700,000 slaves in the U.S. in 1790, which equated to approximately 8% of the total population, or roughly 1 in every 6 people. By 1860, the final census taken before the American Civil War, there were 4 million slaves in the South, compared with less than 500,000 free African Americans. In all of the U.S., of the 4.4 million African Americans in the U.S. before the war, almost 4 million of these people were held as slaves, meaning that for all African Americans living in the U.S. in 1860, there was an 89% chance that they lived in slavery. Where's your stats from real stat places, right? And if you look at my my slides, you'll see I have the source right there for everything. So something A1 didn't show you was black slave owners. So let's talk about it. Anthony Johnson, right? Antonio may have arrived at the colony from Angola the year before aboard the James. Antonio, a Negro, is listed as a servant in the 1625 census below. Although it is not known exactly how or when the Johnsons became free, court records in 1641 indicate that Anthony was master to a black servant, John Casaw. By 1650, the Johnsons owned 250 acres of land stretched along Pontotoc Creek on the eastern shore of Virginia. White planter Rob Parker secured the freedom of Anthony Johnson's servant, John Casaw, who had convinced Parker and his brother George that he was an illegally detained indentured servant. Anthony later fought the decision after lengthy court proceedings. Casaw was returned to the Johnson family in 1655. So Anthony Johnson is famous for owning one of the first black slaves, not white slaves, black slaves. John Casaw was a Negro. In August of 1670.
20 minutes, brother. 20 minutes.
In August of 1670, an all-white jury ruled that Anthony's original land in Virginia could be seized from his surviving family by the state because, now listen to why, since A1 wants to try to paint this picture like the Negroes was running everything, because he was a Negro and by consequence an alien.
Yeah, Anthony Johnson was an indigenous serving himself at first. He just gained his freedom and got entitled
Right.
to the spoils of the country. Cause like the first 20 Africans that was brought to English speaking colonies, so they wasn't made like in chattel slavery. They made them indentured slavery because
Facts.
Britain didn't have a set up slave system like the Spanish and Portuguese did.
That is facts. Man, so they just be effing it up all the way through. And it's just wild. Just simply wild. I dropped that in the Discord for him, Sean. So he can see it next time. Marcus.
Man.
Chilembwe.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you have anything else to say? Add?
Yeah, I want to.
Concerning your presentation, did you want to go?
Oh no, I'm done with that. They scamming all the way. I ain't got nothing else to say about that.
Yeah, of course. Good presentation, by the way.
Thank you. I try to keep it limited.
Yeah, that was good. That was nice and short and concise. You did good, fam.
I know I can be somewhat long-winded at times.
No, you did good though.
But I want to tackle another part of the conversation that I think leads to confusion, and that is when we get into what actually was transpiring in Europe at the time. I don't think you can do justice to African American history if you only solely look at British history alone. I think you would do a disservice to African American history by doing that. I also think you would do a disservice if you don't include in some degree what transpired prior to 1342.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally with you saying. If it was up to me, the African American culture actually started in Santo Domingo, because like the Americas is not just the United States; it's a continent. Like they made them old maps. The maps show the Caribbeans and South America.
Yeah, you would have to include it. Like when I hear people talk about like the Carolinas, I find it strange that they have no history of Barbados. Like I can't personally, I can't picture you not being able to.
Yeah, Barbados is definitely not Carolina history.
Or even the colony Guadalupe. That wasn't even the British. That was the Spanish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They had African slaves with them.
Well, the first interracial marriage was in at least documented, you could say, was in actually the Spanish colonies. You know what I'm saying, in Florida, which was a unique situation because she was.
Talking about Anna Kingsley.
It was a I'll pull up her name. It's some controversy behind it because she was actually probably already married, and so it was part of the unique history of being able to be in two places, have a husband in one place and a husband in another.
Was she African?
Yeah,
that was Anna Kingsley. Okay, Anna is what they call her, but her real name is a little more. That's the Kingsley Plantation. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Go ahead, share your source though.
No, I want to just discuss it. I have some very interesting. Ways we can go about it. So I just want to hear what everybody else say. It may not be tonight, it may be another time, but I would like to look into some of the misconceptions. One of the misconceptions is that there aren't people of African heritage and descent and Africans themselves in Europe prior to the push of the transatlantic slave trade. I think that's a concept that is inaccurate to some degree. And then there's a flow of workings that's going on at that time. So like you have Juan de Latino, right, in 1501, around 1501. He's actually a professor, and he's from sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's 1501, and he's already a professor there, right? And he's he did a couple poems and some conversations about the development of racism at that time. And he was saying, man, what y'all saying just don't make sense. There's no basis for it. You got the bodies that were found in a monastery in Britain. You got Ethiopians building cathedrals, right, in Europe. And so you have a rich dynamic of interactions taking place that I think today we minimize, or at least we're not fully aware of it, right? We have evidence in Italy of Africans being servants and slaves, and then being free or working for their own, and they are working in their metropolitan centers. Some of those and those descendants would transmit to America. And so you had that rich history. I want to point to one of them in a few seconds, but I just want to see where everybody else feel about really looking into that so much. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I'm trying to find the woman you was talking about. You was Vasa told me it was that Abrego woman.
Oh yeah, in Florida.
Yeah, it was in New Spain. It was Luis de Abrego, a free Black Hispanic woman from Andalusia, and Miguel Rodriguez, married in St. Augustine. Okay, St. Augustine.
Give me the year. Do they have the year?
Let's see the year right here. 50 years later, first in England. 16. So it had to be 15 something. Hold on. It's not giving me a date when it said they got married. But 50 years later was 1614. So somebody do some math, because I ain't that savvy. But 50 years from 1614. So it was like,
that's 1560.
Like 15. Yeah. 1560 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh wee.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. So we talk about 1619, but you already have marriages in Florida taking place, right? You already have Africans here who are already amalgamating with native populations, but they have nothing to do specifically with the British colonies. And so you will then find British colonists spreading out, and they're finding people, right? And they're making the mistake to say that these people, and when they're describing these people, they could be possibly not only describing native indigenous people, but also the descendants of those earlier African inhabitants who amalgamated with native populations. So you will have that blend by the time the British starts to arrive in Georgia and the panhandle of Florida. So that's just a thing we have to address. But do y'all want to? I'm asking, do y'all want to look into some of those earlier contacts in the development of Africans in Europe.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to have to eventually. You understand? Like, we're gonna have to walk them all the way down, literally. Go ahead, Gullah.
I was gonna say, even if like what Brother Chill was saying, like if you look at them early like all throughout the 1500s,
Mm-hmm.
Spanish occupation, you had some of the most slave revolts or runaways, so during the slave occupation, people became maroons and actually started kingdoms and villages amongst Native American people all throughout Latin or Spanish America, or even
Right.
Portuguese and all that. You know what I'm saying? They had a lot of runaways. What they call them, Cimarrones. You know, the word maroon
Mm-hmm.
comes from like Latin or
Cimarron.
yeah.
Cimarrone, Cimarron. Same thing. Seminole comes from that. That's what you have, what, like Fort Mose here. What is it? The Negro Fort. Then you have the Palenques, and you have Quilambos. All those are like maroon, what, say kingdoms, villages, whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. Even if y'all heard of Sir Francis Drake, when he was trying to cross Panama, a group or a chieftain of Maroons, African
Mm-hmm.
Maroons, helped him fight the Spanish.
Mm.
That's actually one of the things I wanted to bring up. He's one of the ones that Drake story is part of the reason why I think we should really look into African in Europe, and you'll find out about what's those people called? They got a whole show about them, and they're like English royalties.
Oh, you talking about Bridington or something?
No, I'll get the name of them. I'll get the name of them. It's a whole Showtime or something show about them. It's similar.
Yes.
It's similar to like The Crown, but they're talking about
Bridgeton. It's something Bridgeton something. You
Yeah.
talking about when he dressed up and they got the black people in there too?
Yeah, and there was pushback against him, but that whole period is ruled by it's a word they use to rule by them. And those people, when you get into the history of those people and how they were, how Africans were, I won't say that it's like a preponderance of them. I think sometimes people push it too far and say there were lots of them, but there were some there. That I think Bridgerton is the name of the show, but I need the name of the actual royal ruling family.
Oh, I don't know. But you're not talking about Watch the Crown, though.
No, I don't think I am. I'm thinking of talking about.
Okay, it is Bridgington. Okay, I'll find it. I'll find it for you. Keep talking.
Okay, so this is the one I was talking about. Luis de Abrego. They talk about her bigamy. That's a whole nother part of the story. 15-year-old free black domestic servant in Spain when she received and accepted her first marriage proposal. She got sick. Later, she her husband married someone else while Abrego was sick. Later, she met Miguel Rodriguez, traveled with him to St. Augustine, and they married after they arrived in 1565. Theirs was the first documented Christian marriage in what we become the continental United States. And so
they say Queen Charlotte, like parts of it are kind of talking about her life. It's a parallel to her. They're not giving me a royal family.
Yeah, Queen Charlotte. Queen
They're just saying Queen
like,
Charlotte.
I would say Queen Charlotte would have been like her lineage would actually have been a descendant of probably like North Africans, like Berbers, Amazigh, not actually like Niger Congo people.
Right, but everybody want to make her. You feel me? Want to make her some things she's not, but that's how people do.
Yeah, let me get some of see if I can find out which one it is. who they are. They kind of like.
Are you talking about Are you talking about the De Medici family from Italy?
No, they actually.
No.
I think that's
He
the
was
family.
married to King George III, Queen Charlotte
Oh.
the Real. And they say what
I know,
royal
yeah, I know.
family is
Right.
Bridgerton based on. Said the origins was the 57-year romance between Britain's King George III and Queen Charlotte are the subject of this series, which was created by Shonda Rhimes and based on the characters introduced on screen. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's all the sources are saying that. That was in 1761. They have 15 children, 13 of them which survived in adulthood. That's all. You want to know the house? I don't know all that. The family crest? Mm-mm. Can't help you.
No, I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
In a few
Get
a
it,
few
get
seconds.
it. Don't stop. Get it, get
Sean
it.
posted some things, Juju, in the back chat.
Nah, just play that last one for me real quick.
Where you want me to
This is
start
this.
on the last one? You start
I
at
gave
the
you a
beginning?
timestamp, 131:02 on the very last one. Them other ones
Okay.
chill. The other videos should be directly on the timestamp.
131:02.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Wait a minute. This the last one you're giving me? Wait a minute. Maybe I don't have the right one.
Very last one. Scroll all the way down.
Aboriginal power one?
Yep.
Hold on. Is it? I'm gonna make sure. Oh no, that's not.
Yeah, it is. It's a
Different.
whole panel full of people. The very last link.
Yeah,
Let me repost it again.
that's. I got it. No, I got it. The very last link you poked, and you said 131, right?
131:02.
130.
Get your aspirin out if you need some headache medicine.
I'm gonna start at one.
You started at 131 because it's gonna lead into her.
I got you. Hold on. Here we go. Y'all put your seatbelts on. We finna have a couple hard left turns coming up here.
Pale skins own niggas. We didn't have a structure of that slave trade, slave nothing in America. We're talking about family. We're not talking about it's your father. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I bought you. I own you. And they want to spin the story once again. It's Hollywood. They can do what they want to. They can do what they want to do in the dramatizations, and they'll say this is history, but it's not. It's a movie. It's not real.
So, Chief, when someone said they ran away, that's a young man left his father's house without authority. Would you agree with that?
For whatever his reasons would be with him and his father. Whatever the differences are.
Did you see how
before emancipation he wasn't emancipated to go through anything?
And nothing you see on TV is real.
But did
Absolutely.
you see The Harder They Fall, that Black Cowboy movie?
Absolutely.
With your boy Jonathan Majors and Idris Elba? You seen The Harder They Fall?
Loved it.
Could you compare the two? You've watched Bass Reeves, you said you watched.
I don't want the first episode.
How would you compare the way The Harder They Fall was
a little bit?
I think it was dope.
What you say, Sean?
Go forward just a little bit.
Regina King's character was awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I root for the good guys. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man.
We've been
Go
doing
back a little bit. Go back a little
business
bit.
with all these other foreign continents before white Europe. I just want to share a map.
Go back more.
You mind, Pap, or no?
No. You good right here. You good.
Yeah, go ahead. Sister Bethany, not to cut you off, they're mad because we're challenging the information. Go ahead, Sister Bethany.
All right, I got it up, Pap. You see this, Pap?
Hold on, let me click it. There you go. It's on the screen. Yep.
All right. So we got all the 7 fucking continents. And we got North and South America, which is America, and that's all the green, and including Canada, right? Damn, this shit keep getting big on its own, right? My question, now that you could visually see this shit, we make it smaller. And looking at the other 6 continents, if we this right here proves to you that we've been doing business, always did business with all the other continents. North America. Because if we didn't, how the fuck we get European slaves? How the fuck we get Asian slaves? How the fuck we supposedly got African slaves? We've been doing business. We was doing business with all these other foreign continents before white Europeans were in power over here. We was already dealing with them, with these other countries. Am I lying or am I just faking it?
So Queen Mother, and thank you for the color coding.
Queen Mother.
They have taken one continent and cut it into 3: Europe, Asia, and Africa. Thank you for the color coding, by the way, or whoever was that proposed this. And is the Arctic obviously considered a part of the North American continent, right?
That's the big question, because I don't know. Is it?
Well, I'm just going by the color coding that you shown. So counting the 7, that's North America, South America, that's 2. Europe is 3. Asia is 4. Africa is 5. Australia is 6. And then Antarctica, which is the dark blue at the bottom, is 7. Just want to make sure this is what I'm seeing on this map.
Yep,
that
that's correct. That's accurate.
So the Arctic Circle is North America.
Okay.
You follow me? That would include Greenland, Nova Scotia, all those.
They literally gotta. That's crazy. So you gotta convince each other in like real time on some bucks. They just go with whatever.
The Arctic Circle crosses multiple continents.
I'm done, but this is what it is, y'all. Let me
Chains of since they did so much trading, why when the Europeans came over here, why the Native Americans didn't have iron technology?
Listen. We got a lot of why questions.
That's why A1 says the conjoining islands.
Okay.
That's all North America, right?
Hell no.
No, just bear with me for a second, pal. Just bear with me.
No, I ain't. Nope, it's not.
Now, the reason South America is separated as a continent is the Panama Canal. Is that the reason we're supposed to believe that South America is a separate continent?
Lord, you mean to tell me they don't know? The Panama
No,
Canal?
hold on. Time out. So from the time that you played between Chief Supreme Queef Holiday coming in and saying what he said, and then up into Betty, and then the Alabama guy, y'all. This is a thing. Remember, she said we owned all the slaves. We own white slaves, Asian slaves, African slaves. That's what she said.
Yep.
But now listen, if you owned all of those slaves, how the hell could the European overthrow you and now become the dominant population in the Americas and you go non-existent until 2017?
Literally. Oh man, that's wild, bro. Let me play a little more and then I'm gonna draw. I can't, boy. Whew.
All right, is South America a continent? Is the question?
Well, I'm saying, are we to believe that because of the Panama Canal? You see what I'm saying? But I'm just going by the color coding of the map for them to claim that there are 7.
But that's the question I asked. That's the question I'm asking you, sweetheart. Is South America a continent? Is it really a continent? I mean, we got 2 things so close together, we're calling them both continents, North America and South America. We're calling them continents.
Chief Eagle Eye saying no. Hit the link, Chief Eagle Eye. We need the war. We need the war chief. Come on with the war council, Chief Eagle Eye.
Go ahead,
Chief
Bap.
Can
answer that.
Go ahead,
Is it really separate continents? That's why I'm asking.
My thing is though, right? If you're in,
I would say one landmass. Go ahead, Chief.
Hey, they
That's
don't
what I
know.
said.
They don't know what they're talking about. But it's
California,
actually
right?
argument.
And you want to go over?
Wait a minute. What you say, Gullah?
Say she don't know what she's talking about, but it is an actual geographical argument whether it is one big continent, because it is technically it is one big continent. Just it's only separated by a peninsula. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, right.
Over there to China, which way you go, according to this map?
Go
Go
west,
to the
young
west,
man.
right?
Go west, young man.
Go
Across the
west
Pacific Ocean.
on
Yeah, obviously
a
across the
plane.
Pacific Ocean.
But question for Big Dog. He's a flat earth. According to this map, which way would you go if you're in California?
You heard that, right? Now they question each other because one of them is also a flat earther. Oh my God.
Trying to get to China.
Isn't that the reverse Bering Strait?
They just told you. You would
The
go
reverse
to
Bering Strait.
you would go to the right.
But you going back over the Bering Strait,
You going
Big Dog?
You're going west.
I can't do it. That's enough for the day.
So listen, I have a headache, and this is why I don't like doing these type shows, right? Because I have to prepare my body budget for the nonsense. And now I done got a headache. I'm gonna have to take what I just heard. It's just ignorance at its finest. It is. I don't want to. I have to be honest. I'm actually quite embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for him to be online and make such audacious claims, and to really paint a map and try to figure out, as if you don't understand the basic concepts of geography. We got a lot of work to do. We're gonna have to bang these people up.
yeah, they gotta go back. They gotta go all the way back to elementary school. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. And then
I
she
think.
talking about
Go ahead, Gullah.
I was just say she talking about all this trade and all this. Why, if this the case, why Italy didn't get the tomato until after the Columbian exchange?
Don't tell him nothing, Gullah. Don't tell him nothing.
It is. It's just a ridiculous claim. Like, it doesn't even make sense based on what you see in the world today. Like, you would have to. There's a delusion, I guess. I don't want to give them no clinical claim, but there's something going on mentally with them. Maybe they're neurologically divergent. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're dealing with individuals who may not have a sufficient IQ. Maybe they're talking about things that are beyond their ability to grasp. I know people who do struggle giving out change at the cash register. They just exist. They're in the world today. Maybe these people are reading things that are beyond their thing. Maybe they should be reading like Goldstein Bears or something like that. Dealing with things like that. Maybe dealing with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and all that type stuff, and not try to read these concepts. They may be a little too far advanced for them. I'll have to listen to some more, but now I got a daggone headache.
Oh boy.
The people I was talking about are the Tudors, Tudor.
Oh, okay. Got it.
As the British family. I want to talk about a painting right quick. I'm still dealing with the Abos, but I want to hold on, let me see. Sean, you got more videos you want to play?
No, I'm done for tonight. Y'all really want to see more videos? No.
Nah. No. I ain't doing that to you or me. No.
Right.
Yeah, I don't feel like hearing that lady sound like she's taking a midnight snack, eating cigarettes.
Eating cigarettes. She really is eating them with no filter. I swear. She got to stop it. Just say no. Oh my God. Go ahead. Let's give it like 15 more minutes, and then we definitely gotta come back because
They call
we
Indian Moors. Indians are Moors.
I think they just grabbing everything, making it up as they go along. I think they're trying to outdo each other with the most obscure information, almost like who instead of being who wants to be a millionaire and playing Jeopardy or something, they're saying who can be the dumbest.
They playing Jenga. They playing Jenga. They playing Jenga with the information.
Trying to get out the door.
Yeah. Hold on. Who said that? Money, Mofa Media. You are absolutely right. They're definitely conspiracy theorists, but we're going to address that. We gotta hurry up and get to that book, Death of Expertise, because that we're on a part about conspiracy theories.
Yes, about to take it over from Bobby Banger Boy. If he don't get his act together, Banger Bobby. Yeah, because we see it in real life. Like every day, we see it. Everything in our book, we see it every day. Death of Expertise by Tom Nichols. If anybody's interested, it is a phenomenal read for real, and it'll give you clarity and understanding for what's happening. Yep. Go ahead, Mark. Yes.
So this is one of the things that I was talking about, and as we begin to go further and further into understanding history, and we're looking at things, you'll start to come across some of these you'll start to get better information, more information. They'll start to dive into some clear concepts. So this is one of the things that I came across, and it has to do with a painting that they found. And in the painting you can find they found. We'll go over the article. Let's go over the article, and you'll see what I mean by this deep African presence that sometimes gets obscured because of racism and just how history was cataloged at that time. So it's an exposition from a while ago. They finally uploaded all the works from the this museum, and they made it access available. So just a brief overview. They found a portrait of a little girl of African descent in a painting that they thought didn't have a girl, and then when they found out they had a girl, they attempted to discover who she was. And so I'm giving it to you. In 1902, Henry Waters purchased a painting created around 1539. The years are very important because you'll see why this painting in and of itself has some significance when we talk about the African presence in Europe during during the Age of Enlightenment and during some of the developments out of the feudal system. You'll find some conversation pieces going on. Henry Walter purchased a painting created around 1539 by Renaissance master Pontomero. It was tentatively identified as Victoria Colonna, a celebrated poet. 1937, art conservators who x-rayed the subject were surprised to see something beneath the surface. Lo and behold, cleaning the work restored a child to an older woman. A child to the older woman. The revelation cast doubt on the sitter's identity. Victoria Colonna, a close friend of Michelangelo, who was known to be pious, but she was childless. That's a kid, a childless poet. Her portrait would have netted more than one of a woman and a child. So they suspect that the purchaser of the painting changed who it was allegedly be to raise the value, which was how the painting was listed in 1814 inventory, belonging to descendants of the Salvati family. By 1881, the same work cataloged as Victoria Colonna, appears in the collection of Don Marcello Maserati, which suggests that it was an enterprising mid-19th century dealer masked the child to enhance his profit. So remember, I started off saying that at times history wasn't as clear-cut early on as it is now. Here's a prime example. So, they painted a picture 1500s. No one actually, or at least the information was lost on who it's supposed to be. Years later, Walter, curator at Edward King, recognized Maria Salvatore was Ponderomo's real subject. But the fact that Maria had a son led him and others to see a child as a boy, namely Cosmaso di Medici. Some of these names are hard to pronounce, but I'm going to leave a link so everybody can get to it. As a Cosimo later become the Duke of Florence. Such a portrait would seem to hold value. However, when Spencer looked at the painting, she didn't recognize Cosimo. Instead, she clearly saw a young girl whose flowing dress and braided hairstyle could be seen in another Italian portrait of that era, namely Veserini, 1552 portrait of Countess Leva de Porto Thing and her daughter Diadamia. Also in Walter's connection. Spicer was hooked. Giulia was the daughter of Asserando di Medici, himself widely to be the son of Pope Clementine VII and an African slave. So there's some controversy about Alexandrio's parentage. They at one time thought it was by Pope Clement the Seventh, mind you, who did not persecute individual who said the earth was not the center of the universe. We should look into that too, who later they did do it too. Long story about that. Nevertheless, but here we see a dynamic being developed, right? That Pope Clementine the Seventh and African slave. So Alexandra would have been a person of African descent, whether it was the Pope or his nephew, who was the father. Either which way, Alexandra ended up becoming a ruler. Alexandra was also a tyrannical Duke of Florence until his assassination in 1537. So now we see the time being slightly pushed back further. We see this dynamic of Africans in royal house families. We see them engaging in politics, ruling in some cases. Sometimes the children are left with other individuals who are of the ruling class. If we look at it, what's going on is that education is very sparse at that time. Books are limited. And so people are usually educated only in the highest echelons of society. So that would mean that Alessandro was already a daughter at 1537, but he was also educated to some degree as the royal families used to be. Alexandra believed to be the likeness rather than ideal portrait, and she found one by Brozinio, Ponteromo's pupil, painted after 1553. Considered together, Ponteromo's and Brozinio's painting show a child who shares Alexandrio's features, though not his skin color. Thus, the visual evidence supported by the curator's hunch, which was informed by scholarship history and closely looking at her subject, Giulia was no doubt painted over, not because of her parentage, but to transform Maria to the more profitable Victoria. Nonetheless, bringing the child back into the frame helped connect the dots back to her father, probably the most prominent Renaissance man of mixed race, and his mother, a freed slave who is known only as Samanita, wife of a mule driver. With this discovery came the promise of Spencer wanted to bring research she was uncovering to the public in a conversation on racial identity. For example, what race is mixed race? Alexandra di Medici was from Florence, where the legal status of a child was linked to the father. In Roman law, the child's slave status, was that of the mother. In the United States in the early 20th century, race was merely defined as a single drop of black blood. Now here go this single drop black blood coming up again with this conversation we had. And we had this conversation about the Black Egypt thing, painful as it was. We got to understand what that single black blood means. It's not a badge of honor. A drop of black blood classifying a person as black for the purpose of limiting their civil rights. So the idea here that I'm going to put in here is that there is a conversation that took place in Europe that these black people from different parts of Africa are actively engaged in Europe's history, right? And that they're not isolated from it. And some of these people, if you look at the Black Tudors that I was talking about earlier, travel into America, bringing with them that dynamic history. Here's another part that's very interesting. Religion, diplomacy, and commerce brought more contact between Africa and Europe during what is called the long 16th century. That's 1480 to 1610. This contact resulted in more accurate depictions on the continent of its people. So basically, they're talking about the more engaged Africa became, the less wild some of the artistic work may have become, though they still had some racist stereotypes implied, to more depictions as they begin to engage more in the history of Europe and America and Africa. As it becomes more meshed and melted, you start to see more dynamic things come out. So here's a good example. Coligny's delegation was received in Lisbon in 1484. Moroccan ambassador visited Queen Elizabeth in 1600. Signed a treaty with the Dutch Republic in 1609 and 10. Commerce more. Start to see artwork being framed. So you get to get an idea of what we're talking about here. So I'm going to put this into the chat. It's a very, very great read, and it has a lot of links that you can use to examine some of that dynamic history. Okay, so that's what I wanted to point out to it, and we're going to touch into more of that. I think it'll be very interesting to look at some of these people that will later transform how Africans are looked at in the world over. And when we get into that, I think we would definitely approve. Share one more time for me. I just want to point this out. So here's one of the examples. So this is a cool dude, man. This dude was crazy. So his name is Juan de Latino. So I'm going to start mid-sentence. You can get the whole thing. I just posted in the thing. Spicer considers this frame a placeholder for Juan de Latino, an enslaved man who attended to his master's son at the University of Granada while earning himself a bachelor degree in 1545 and a master's of arts in 1557. Latino's very name is a moniker for his talent with language, a play devoted to his life. The famous drama of Juan de Latino was circulated around 1610. Describes how he enjoyed a long career as a poet and Latin professor at the university's cathedral school, where he courted and eventually wedded a rich white bride. In the play, he is freed upon marrying her, and later admiring Prince commissions Juan's portrait for display of the illustrious man. While some collected the portraits exist, none has been identified as that as monolithic. Perhaps one is out there yet. And so here is another prime example of that rich dynamic history. Juan the Latino actually wrote a treatise against racism, right? And I'm going to get that for y'all so we can see it. So we have that dynamic that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about how these individuals and their descendants become a fundamental part of the expansion towards the West.
Yeah, that's live. And that's actually not the only picture that they've found with a similar circumstance. Actually, there's this other picture. I'll find it and share it on the next show. But it has a young boy. It's a family portrait, and it has a young boy, but they attempted to erase him out of the picture. But it was discovered by art historian or someone who was investigating the quality of the artwork. And of course, it was an old piece. So I just find that very interesting and wanting to understand what are the circumstances surrounding these mixed African descended children, within these spaces that you would think they would be, slaves or just not there. So I just find that intriguing. And there's a possibility that he was some type of slave or servant hand or whatnot, but they really don't know.
I would say could have. It's possibly because you did have what they call the charter generation, where you had like Portuguese and Spanish descendants who were the result of them intermixing with African women on the coast of Africa, and they became sailors and all that. Like even some of the what they call Atlantic Creoles, you know what I'm saying? Some of those first 20. Because remember some of those Africans that was brought to the British colony I was talking about earlier, the first 20, some of those people wasn't like, because they got them, the people came from a Dutch ship, and that Dutch ship captured a Spanish ship, and that Spanish ship had of course slaves, like chattel slaves, and they also had African, mixed African, Spanish and Portuguese people that actually worked the ship. You know what I'm saying? Even the term it's a theory, even the term Creole, you know what I'm saying, comes from the term crew, because the crew people, a lot of them people were actually the ones mixing with a lot of Spaniards and Portuguese on the coast of Africa, and a lot of them people were actually some of the first people to be called Latinos. Actually, it was even before it was Ladino. You know what I'm saying? Some of those people was actually first people to be called Latino. They was like, they were speaking Portuguese, but coming back, they coming back to Portugal and Spain with this different type of Portuguese or Spanish that had like African words and more creolized.
Right. Yes, Vasa. If you can hear me, it's the Belizaire portrait. But go ahead, Chilembwe, and then I'm gonna show the Belizaire portrait, and then we can wind it on down.
So that's this is a painting of Alexandrio, who was the Duke of Florence, and they say he was tyrannical, but when you look at it, it may not have been as tyrannical as they make it seem. And really, the truth of the matter is, most of Europe was at war at the time, and so he was right along lines of the rest of the rulers of his day, with some of the savage behavior they were doing. It's savage to us now. To them, it was the rule of the day. But that's an image of him, right? And so we can clearly see this African mixture of who he is. And when he was assassinated, they wanted to protect his daughter, and so they sent her to live with the lady I mentioned in the other source. What's her name? I'm getting her name now. I'm sorry, I can't find her name right now. but they went to Countess Livia de Porto. As a ruling point. And so his daughter went to live with her, and that's who they believe this image was painted of. And I find it to be a fascinating story that it took over 400 years or close to 400 years for that story to be developed out of it, right? And that an individual wanting to know more about this image came up with this rich, dynamic history of these Africans who were ruling, or at least part of the royal lineages in Europe, and that Duke and that Pope wasn't no joke. Like, he wasn't just anybody, right? He was a very powerful person. And here we have these Africans mixed in with that whole lineage. But the Abos missed this history, and they had an opportunity to discuss and really develop Africa and Africans and the story of African people in America. That was Pope Clement VII that I was referring to.
Got it. This is the other picture. This is the Belazar. Thank you, Vasa, for that. But so of course, the obviously darker young man in the painting now, he's not there. Okay, he's erased from the painting. But he's also not giving servant qualities as far as his positioning and his stance, and the whole reason why he's in the picture anyway. So, does that look like a young boy or a young man? Could that be her husband? Y'all think? I don't know. It's really weird. But like Marcus was showing, it's just it just shows you that it wasn't stagnant, right? The relationships between Europeans and Africans in any kind of way. It just wasn't.
I could be wrong, but why they got him with his own arms for to look like he envious of the other kids.
You're funny. Yeah, but I don't know. He's got like it's just it's a beautiful portrait. I'm into art, so it's interesting. And I'll give y'all more. Maybe on another show we can go through some more of these things. Gideon, did you want to say something? We're about to cut it off. We're at the 2-hour mark. Marcus can go for another 3 hours. Marcus has the information presentations for days, y'all. Y'all want it?
No, I actually just got back in, Juju, to be honest with you. I've been rolling on the road and my phone died. That's why I dropped out. So I was trying to see if y'all was done or not. So I missed probably about 15 minutes of what y'all was saying.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about like what the reality of the relationship was between so-called Africans or African descendant people or whatnot. And this that it wasn't just a slaver and a slave relationship. There were other types of relationships and conditions.
Oh yeah, most definitely. For real, facts.
In existence.
We could talk about it later, but I had some information about even before they became the Gurufunda people, the Afro Grenadians and from Saint Vincent, the Caribs there, they held like one of the biggest sanctuaries for runaway Africans. So much that over the years when Europeans kept coming back, they were like, dang, all the Native Americans, they all black now, because so many Africans, overcame, in their regions, and they welcomed them to their region. The Caribs, or actually they called the Kalina, they were more rebellious to Europeans more so than the Arawaks were. The Arawaks was more they were more like, a little bit more softer, a little bit more gracile and more welcoming to Europeans. That's why they kind of got. That's kind of why they kind of got like taken over and taken advantage of. But the Caribs are more warlike. You know what I'm saying? So they welcome a lot of Africans.
Yeah, so I think we had a good discussion. We'll get some more clips out there, man. And the way I like to approach it is one clip at a time, and try to give in a short synopsis the accurate information, right? And give you sources that are available for you to go and verify. I love the QR codes, so you can at any time pause the video and get a screenshot of the QR code and go ahead and go look for yourself. Ain't nothing hidden. That idea of hidden history or secret knowledge is all part of the scam. That's all that is. They charlatans. And the only way they can combat the information, the accurate information, is by creating a long diatribe of conspiracy theories. And they have this masterful plan, so intrinsic with connections here and connections there that are all built upon shaky information. It's nothing wrong with being an African American, a descendant of those who were enslaved. You can look at it from a place of my ancestors was enslaved. They were weak, or you can look at them that my ancestors were enslaved and they survived and thrived, and afterwards produce a people who today can sit on the internet and argue about it. I'd rather look at it the latter way. I'd rather look at it the way the second results of the way I described it, rather than look at it as a weakness. Look at it as a part of human history and the strength it took to endure and develop like the people we have now. So hopefully everyone who catches this will enjoy it. I plan on doing some more about it. I do the garden show too, so that's coming up. Pseudo Killas got a lot of things on the road now. Social World be back. The ladies are planning on hopefully doing a show again, which was brilliant last time. Shout out to the ladies, the Pseudo Killer ladies and the Pseudo Killer Army ladies and the ladies in the Discord who peaceful manner helps us when we get a little out of control. Shout out to Miss Tiff who helped us out earlier today when we was wilding out. Got a little carried away and heated in the Discord. And listen, you can always we dropped the link for the Discord. You're all welcome to join to some degree. Hit us up and all like that. So hope everyone enjoyed it. That's all I got to say, Juju.
Yeah, that was a great dialogue. Thank you, Gullah Gabri, everybody. Gideon, everybody who joined. What up, Odio? You right in time for the end. No, but everyone who joined, Vasa, always dropping knowledge in the chat. I don't never want to hit the panel, but that's okay. I'll be begging them all the time. Sean, for sure, not a coincidence. Clips was awesome. Yeah, we got a lot of work on our hands. You talking about my bad? No, you cool. I'm messing with you, fam. We definitely got a lot of work on our hands. So, and it might not always be fun and games and full of drama. That's what we want, but real scholarship don't necessarily look like that. It's discipline. So the discourse is going to be discipline. And if we want better, we're going to have to do better. I'm just saying. Thank you, Chilembwe. You always be on it. For real. Well read. Extremely knowledgeable. If you have any questions about anything, Chilembwe is definitely the guy. Vyas is a good guy too. And Sean. Sean, if you're listening out there, you're my superhero, and don't you forget it. Gullah, you got some final words on it?
Man, this is a pretty good discussion. I can't wait to get get more, do more shows like this, especially on this subject. And shoot, saying this was the smoke session. So
yeah, boy. It's the
real
pull-up
native.
smoke session. And I know this your wheelhouse too, Gullah. I already know. And so the thing is everybody come from a different angle, different point of view on the situation. And I think that's what's needed for the overall conversation.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say, shoot, if they real Native Americans and Abos, they can read these smoke signals.
Ah, that's good. They can read these smoke signals. So man. So with that being said, I'm not even gonna give you a chance to get in because you got some final. I'm gonna give you a chance. Go ahead, get in. What are your final remarks? Yes, I told y'all. But with that said, I gotta figure out what's gonna be my outro music, y'all. I'll never have it ready. We gonna be out and check us. Perhaps tomorrow, maybe Friday, we will go ahead and get that Galaxy and Beyond show going. My partner Anthony couldn't make it tonight, and I'm not doing it without him. We'll be discussing the Euclid spacecraft. That's gonna be just, pretty awesome. That's some awesome stuff right there going on with Euclid. So check us out. We got some more exciting stuff for y'all in the future. But until then, we are out of here. Good night.